Hello, everybody, and welcome to Raheem's Odyssey. As you know, we have started a series of interview, and today we have Connie Messenger. And let's welcome her. Please introduce yourself. And thank you so much for coming.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much, Raheem, for having me. I'm incredibly grateful and honored, and just having a conversation with you prior to starting. You're beyond your years and just an incredible human. So honored and so thankful with everything and what you're doing. It's just really, really beautiful. So a little bit about me. My name's Connie Messinger. I am an occupational therapist. I live and I work in New York. I primarily work with 0 to 12-year-olds, teaching them the importance of fine motor, gross motor, sensory, and a lot of learning how to be grounded in the present moment, depending on their age and depending on their ability. The intention of the sessions is really to help promote increase daily skills and daily activity. However, anytime I'm doing activities or doing different treatments, the idea is really empowered and to help instill confidence in these little children, because then as they get older, they're going to have this self-efficacy and this self-belief that I can do and I can achieve. So that's a little bit about what I do with occupational therapy. I also work as an adjunct professor at university in New York as well. I teach in the fall semester graduate level occupational therapy courses. Initially, when I first started to teach the course, the students were really upbeat, really excited, really engaged. And over the weekend, I went to a meditation retreat and I came back very calm, very zen, very present. And the students that I saw a few days prior were completely different students when I came back. They were really stressed, really nervous, really having a lot of anxiety. And I'm like, oh my goodness, these students are just starting out in their field and learning about education. And they kind of, in order to learn, it's very important to be present and to be attentive. And they weren't. And they were getting very stressed out about their grades and about their studies and about life and work balance. And I was like, oh my goodness, what can I do? How can I help these students better be able to learn how to be present and be attentive and realize that grades are important, studies are important, learning is important. However, myself and my well-being is just as important. So I ended up going to the director of the program and telling her what I'm noting and saying, I have an idea. How about if we introduce mindfulness meditation to the class, maybe 5 or 10 minutes every class, different ideas, different suggestions to better be able to help the students. And then from there, for the past 2 years, I've had the opportunity for 5-10 minutes of my class, introducing a skill, sitting, doing a meditation with the students, and had a lot of positive results doing that, because the foundation, if we think about it, when we're learning something, if we're learning a new skill, if we're so nervous and so upset and so scared, a lot of our energy is being wasted into things that are out of our control. So why not learn how to learn foundational skills so that our energies can be present and can be towards learning whatever it may be, whether it's occupational therapy, whether it's physics, whether you're in grade school and you're learning a new math skill, a new science skills, whatever it may be. The foundation of learning and to be able to learn is being present with yourself and learning how to be connected with yourself, because then ultimately everything else can naturally kind of transpire naturally. And if an individual is struggling, let's say with math or science, then there's opportunity to reach out to a tutor, to a helper, another classmate, to a teacher. However, some of the times individuals are reaching out because they're so stressed and so they're having so much anxiety. If they were attentive to themselves first, maybe they may not have to reach out to other people, because they're in a state of mind and a mindset where they're able to think and they're able to understand and they're able to process better, rather than being in this state of anxiety. So that's a little, I think I'm kind of going on a rant, so I apologize. But another thing that I also do is life coaching. And as I mentioned, I teach meditation and I speak locally and internationally. I've been having the privilege and the honor to speak in Panama, in California, in Italy, and a lot of speaking engagements in New York. And because of this travel restriction, I was supposed to be in Delaware and Pennsylvania and Costa Rica. However, life happens and things happen. You kind of learn to be in the present and learn that I have the plan. I want to go and travel and I want to speak. I want to do all these things. However, I'm not granted the opportunity right now, and that's okay. And it's with acceptance and trust and taking that step, even though feeling really frustrated and really angry and really upset. It's acknowledging that and regrouping and refocusing back into the present and seeing what can I do? What things are in my control to be able to transform and inspire and grow.
Ah, you do a lot of things. And
Yes.
so like let's go back to your childhood. Where were you
Yeah.
born?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York.
And you still live there?
Yes.
Mm. Okay, so how many siblings do you have?
I have two older brothers. I am the youngest. The age gap between the eldest brother and I is 20 years. So we really pretty much did not grow up together at all. Then my next brother, we are about 14 years apart. So also there's a big, a lot of the time growing up, I would consider myself an only child because after the age of about 6 years old, I was the only one at home.
Well, yeah, because your brothers were, way older than you. So you were first the only sister and then, the only child in the house because they were adults at that time.
They are. I actually have a niece. My eldest nephew, we're about 2 years apart at this point. So my nephew and my nieces are relatively close to my age. So
Okay, that's cool.
yeah, that kind of is cool. They do live in Canada though, so they don't live local. So growing up, I didn't really get to see them. I got to see them maybe once or twice a year. And back in those times, there was no like FaceTime and Skype, so we didn't really have that opportunity. So
Yeah. So how did you get introduced to mindfulness and meditation?
I was originally introduced to it, I think like high school time, like very late teenage years. I think it was like maybe 11th grade, and I've kind of like looked at it as like this is not something for me. Like I don't need this. This is something for like older people. And I was very young mindset. I think I was like 14 or 15 at the time. I graduated high school when I think I was like 16, just about 17. So I kind of was in this mindset of this immaturity of like, no, this is not for me. This is something that like I can't do. I don't need it. Like this is just like not important, not relevant.
Hmm. And so, like, when did you actually started practicing it, doing it? When did you realize that this could be an important part of my career, my life?
I would say so my late teenage years, what really kind of like triggered me. My late teenage years, I was experiencing a lot of anxiety. And I'm like 18, 19, 20. I'm like thinking, how in the world? I'm so young. How am I going to live the rest of my life in this constant fear? Like there's something needs to be done. There's something that I need to do. So I've experienced and I've learned a little bit about cognitive behavioral therapy, didactic behavioral therapy, had a little bit of experience with hypnotherapy, as well as like tapping therapy, and these were great and really incredible. However, like the anxiety kept on coming back and it kept on coming back, and then meditation started to be reintroduced to me in my late teenage years, and I would try it inconsistently and it bringing up more anxiety, and I was like, okay, I can't really do this right now. And then I went into graduate school when I think I was like 19. I was in a master's program and anxiety started to come up then, but I didn't really have the time to cultivate meditation until once I graduated. I was about 22. I had my master's in occupational therapy, and then I was like, again, anxiety is coming up. What can I do? What can I do? And then I started cultivating consistent meditation practice about sitting, being on the breath, and I would see the difference. The days that I would meditate, I would be more calm and more collective, and the days that I didn't, I was just like chaotic and like all over the place, not able to think. Really, my thoughts were like haywire that I couldn't even like track what the thought was, what the feeling was, because it was going so fast. And I realized like meditation needs to be the way of my life, because otherwise I'm just so caught up within myself. And through meditation, I realized this whole nother world, this whole nother place beyond myself, beyond me. And it was just like this really powerful ability to be able to see that. I never was able to experience that before. And over the past like few months, I've actually learned how to almost transform it. I was telling you like prior to the interview, how to use anxiety as in excitement and as opportunity to learn and to grow, rather than, oh my goodness, I'm having anxiety and my thoughts racing and my body shaking and whatever it may be. So it's like, how can I use that as an opportunity? And it's kind of like using anxiety as a GPS. So if my heart is beating really fast, what was the thought? What was the feeling that triggered that before? And it's an opportunity to see, why am I feeling this way? Maybe I'm going to journal about it. Maybe I'm going to have a conversation about it. And then so that I can be more attentive with myself. And it's not really about getting rid of the anxiety. It's really about like embodying it over and over again, and learning and growing and learning and growing. Because it's really just like a typical, regular, everyday emotion, because we're all happy and sad and we all experience anxiety. That's just being human. So it's through learning, through that meditation, and through sitting, and through a lot of self-help books and a lot of readings and a lot of conversations that really helped. And it was through primarily meditation was that really that tip of the iceberg and that big impact.
Yeah, so how was little Connie as a kid? Were you naughty or were you shy? What kind of a kid were you?
So I was incredibly shy and incredibly timid. If anyone would like look at me a certain way, I would like get really upset or really sad. And I'd be like, the person made like a frown. I'd be like, oh my goodness, this person doesn't like me. This person doesn't want to spend time with me. And then I would just get very caught up in my own shadow. I would be very hesitant and very afraid to talk to adults. I don't think I really ever spoke to adults. I would only speak to other kids. I just felt like a lot of the adults growing up were kind of doing these things or doing things that I didn't necessarily agree with or feel with. So I just felt like it wasn't necessary for me to speak, because I also was and am very, very sensitive. I can pick up on other people's energy very easily. So growing up, I picked up on a lot of heavy emotions from all the people that were around me.
Oh, okay. And so, everybody has that favorite thing to do when you're young. That could be playing, that could be sleeping, or even crying for some people. What was your favorite thing to do in your early childhood?
That's a very good question. So my favorite thing was to go outside and play with my friends. We would play ball games. We would play jump rope. We played hopscotch. We played like ching chong. I love to trade stationaries. I would have this like stationery book with like Hello Kitty and with like Tamagotchis and all these like really Anne Frank and these cute little stickers. And my friends and I would go like almost like every night outside, play, and we trade our stationaries.
Yeah, so I believe everybody who is a different person in the society, their bringing up is different, and that is why they grow up to be different. If I was treated different, that like other parents treat their daughters, then I am growing up to be a different person. So, what do you think was different in your bringing up?
Um, what do I think is different in my upbringing? I think growing up, and for me, I tend to look very different than a lot of the children I went to school with. I have blonde hair and blue eyes, and there are some individuals that do. However, I was always treated a little bit differently just because of the way I looked. So that kind of came up. Sorry?
I see that's different because, blonde hair and blue eyes go good together.
Yeah, and it's something that's not necessarily, it can be a norm, but typically it's not something that we see, let's say, in the school system or where I grew up, so that teachers and people, or especially people, would kind of like treat me like very doll-like and very like precious and kind of like on a pedestal, and almost at times like an item and not necessarily as a person. So the value of who I was sometimes focused in on the physical and not necessarily on the internal. So people weren't able to really see who I was beyond to how I looked. And plus I wasn't really talking and really speaking, so they really wasn't able to get that sense.
Yeah, I think, you should actually think of people beyond how they look. If I have, I don't have blonde hair, I have brown hair, I have brown eyes, and, wherever I'm from, am I from Pakistan or I'm from India, wherever I'm from, that shouldn't really be something that people should be looking for. I'm really beyond my physical appearance. So I
Mm-hmm.
think this should be something that people should really take care of. What do you want to say about that?
Yes, I definitely agree. And you're like beyond your years. It's just incredibly beautiful to have a conversation with you. So yes, because we are beyond our physical. Yes, we both are female. Yes, we both live in different countries. And whether you live in Pakistan or India or the United States, whether you have blonde hair, light complexion, dark complexion, whether you're tall or short, big or small, whatever it may be, it's not really so important. It's very irrelevant, because what's important is about your essence. It's about the things that you can't necessarily see, that abstractness, the service of others, being kind, being compassionate. How are you a human to other people? Yes. And especially with the controvirus that's going on, I know that pretty much all over the world people are being affected. Now we're really having that opportunity to see, like, whether you're a celebrity, whether you're not having a lot of money, you are having a lot of money, whether you have a fancy car or a fancy house, it doesn't really matter. At this point, what matters is safety and being alive. We're all breathing the same air. We're all speaking the same language. Our language might be different physical languages. However, what we're striving and seeking is connection, and it's love and it's kindness. And we're all interconnected beyond this physical, beyond how we're looking. And there's more that meets the eye. So much more that's meeting what beyond you can, like, anyone can ever imagine. Because ultimately what we are and who we are made up of bacteria, and we're all technically bacteria having conversations. If you really,
Well,
really think
yeah, I mean, I haven't ever thought about us being bacteria talking to bacteria. That's kind of funny, but I really think about, the virus. It is very bad that a virus is the thing that's bringing us all together, working on it all together. And in the start, virus was something that was also bad because, anybody who looked like Chinese at first would be avoided to talk to you and stuff because, China is where the virus came from. Like, it originated in the city of Wuhan. And then anybody then who started to look Italian would be targeted. And then, now because it's all over the world, you can't target anybody from
mm-hmm.
any race or any country or, having whatever features. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a very shameful thing that it's a virus that's bringing us all together, working us all, that's making us work all together. and i think I think of it as a message from God that, work together, and I am still in charge.
It's really, when it comes down to it, a lot of people are generalizing things, and they're saying, oh, it's starting from China, and it's like all Chinese are X, but then ultimately it's an individual, or it's not necessarily that one person. And like you said, it's happening all over the world, and we're all interconnected. And it's going back to, we can plan. Like for me, I was planning my travel, my speaking engagement, and it's like plan, but ultimately there's only so much you can control, and what can you control is yourself and your actions and your behaviors and how you speak and how you treat other people, and everything else is just releasing. And it like you're mentioning, that the fact that we needed to come to this crisis is like, wow, looking at the world and this disconnection that's going on, it didn't need to come to this, but now it's like this wake up call. It's like almost like we're being shaken, like wake up and see what's going on. How are you treating other people? How are you connecting with other people? How are you working with your kids? How are you working with your family? How are you in the school system? And it's like, the school system is a whole nother topic of conversation, but it's like, what's going on with the school system? What's going on with people? It's just really, really mind-boggling. But now it's opportunity collectively as society of how, like you mentioned, we can all work together, help each other out, have the conversation. If, let's say, there's an elderly that lives in your community, reaching out to the elderly, how can I help? Do you need anything from the grocery store? Do you need any items in your home? Do you need help with maybe some money? Do you want to have a conversation because maybe you're alone, and it's with the elderly, with people that are immunocompromised, with people that are just single parents? This is the opportunity, and this is the time where we all have that availability and that ability to see that. And this virus is showing us that. And then because of this virus, I don't think we would have actually have been connected. The transpire of events, how this conversation actually came into fruition, is just like really, really incredible.
Yes, and I think meditation in a time like this is really important because people are stressed out, people have anxiety, and they're like, we're all gonna die, and we're gonna die because of coronavirus and everything. We're gonna die one day. Why be scared of death? But that's an entire different topic. But we shouldn't be scared of it. If we're scared of it, then we know, I'm just gonna have coronavirus, then what's the purpose of taking care of myself? You take care of yourself and you're not gonna have the coronavirus. And
You kind
meditation, I think, is very important.
of,
What do you want to say
you,
about that?
you do the best that you can, preventative measure with the coronavirus. There's a reason why, let's say in my area, it's almost completely locked down. There's a reason why they're saying don't go outside. It's for your safety. It's for yourself. Being respectful of the rules and what people are saying. It's not just coming out of a whip of a hat that you can't do X, Y, and Z. It's stemming from somewhere. It's stemming from something. So it's realizing that if I'm choosing to go outside, do I really need to go outside? If I'm choosing to go to the park, do I really need to do this right now? And the answer may be yes. So it's being protective, wearing a mask, wearing gloves, keeping that distance from other individuals, because most likely where I live, pretty much everyone most probably has been exposed. So now it's like being mindful that when I'm going out, it's very likely that I'm exposed. So I need to be mindful of other people, and I need to be safe of other people. And I think during this time, meditation can be very, very important, especially most people are in their homes, and it's learning to just be on the breath and on the breath every time I'm having panic or concern or anxiety, noticing it, acknowledging it, I mentioned before, journaling, having a conversation about it, and also just introspect and learning to be with you. Because a lot of the time we're do, go, go, and now there's not really many places to go. The schools are closed, the university are closed, the shopping malls, the theaters, the Broadway, pretty much everything is closed. So it's now can use this time to get to know yourself through sitting and through breathing and through cultivating even like a small practice, even if it's just a minute or two every day, and doing a minute or two for the next week or 2 weeks, and then gradually bringing it up to 3 minutes and 5 minutes, and then learning to know yourself. That can be a really nice way to spend some time.
Yes, and you should always understand that there were many people around the world planning many things. I was planning my next theater performance, that you were talking about theater. So I was planning my performance. There were many people around the world who were there to welcome their babies, or who were there to welcome somebody from abroad. Some people's birthdays were coming, some weddings were coming. And somebody were there, like, who wanted to travel, and everything stopped. So we need to learn that there's also other people that are with us, and we really, even now, I think there's still room for improvement of working together. So I think it's enough about coronavirus. So what's like the best memory that you have from your teenage years?
I would say volunteering. I had opportunity to go to another country, and I had opportunity to see a new way of living. I think I was about 17 at the time, and I was only exposed to the United States. So traveling to another country and seeing how other individuals live, and being able to teach English, being able to help with community gardens, being able to help with teaching writing, that was really, really incredible. And to be able to connect with people, even though we were speaking a different language, being able to connect on through nonverbal, through just playing games and activities. We did ball and we did jump rope and we did hopscotch, and being able to connect on that was just something I didn't realize that I had the ability and to be able to do. So that was really amazing.
Yeah. So, do you like traveling? Like, I've heard a lot about traveling in this conversation. And like, why do you love traveling? Because everybody has different reasons of
Mm-hmm.
loving traveling.
Yeah, so I love traveling. I typically like to link traveling with speaking. So I'm not just traveling, I'm traveling and there's an intention. So I'm giving a meditation class, maybe I'm teaching something on occupational therapy. And in addition to that, then I have a new experience of trying new foods. Let's say trying to think of where was the last place I was in. I was in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Sorry, did it pause?
Yeah, it was just me all over the screen, but yeah, it's okay. Just continue.
Sorry.
You were in Costa
So
Rica.
going to other countries and experiencing other cultures and trying new foods and just connecting and doing things not typically touristy type of things, going into areas where people typically wouldn't have exposure to and giving my time back, whether it's a conversation, doing occupational therapy, giving a meditation class, or just like helping the community of one time I was in, where was I? I was in South Africa, and there was a community that didn't have basic light. So at night, it was very, very dark. So there was a group and I that went, and we actually build lights in the community. And just being able to do these, it seems really small, but ultimately it's really, really large, because now these individuals in the community are able to go outside at night. Prior to that, they weren't able to. And it's something in the States that I've never really thought about, because lights is here. We have access to it. We have access to running water. We have access to a surplus amount of food. And a lot of these other places, people don't necessarily have that. So I kind of want to, when I'm traveling, to, as best as I can, go into areas, see how can I be of service of others, rather than I can easily do tourist attractions and go on hikes and swim and do all these like fun things, which is great. And I do that, but I like to also bring it along with some type of purpose, whether it's speaking or really physically being in service of other people.
Yes, and I think it is really important. And why I love traveling is because, when I go to other countries, I see there's a few things that they have, we don't, but we have that they don't. So we really see, first, we see the time difference that, whenever you're back, you're not in your cycle and, you're a night owl and you're not an early bird that, many people are. And, there's a lot of things that you're facing, and you're seeing that there's a different culture, they have different food, and even if it's cooking eggs, they have different ways of doing that. And you see how beautiful the other cultures are, and as you see, if somebody that, like some country or some specific tribe, they're in any village or something, they don't have light or they don't have running water, then you see that then it also gives you a chance to be grateful. And with saying this, our interview is coming to an end. So at last, I would like you to give a message to all the young people around the world.
So, message to young people around the world: you're in school. Schooling is a moment in time. And for me, growing up, school was very, very tricky. Individuals told me that I should not go to college and that I will not be successful and that I cannot do it. And I could have easily said and agreed with what they were saying. However, I chose not to, and I chose to work really, really hard and take steps and steps on developing writing and math skills, and I did. And I did the best that I could with it. So individuals that are saying to you and telling you that you can't do something or you shouldn't be doing something, know for yourself, if your heart is saying this is something that I want to do, that you can do it and you will do it. And it may not be easy, but that's okay, because you have the ability to take the steps and you have the ability to be able to do anything that your heart desires. So do not let anyone tell you otherwise. And on a side, I didn't mention before, I'm currently in school for my doctorate. I have about a year and a half left, and I will be a doctor of occupational therapy. And so the people that said that you cannot do it, if I was able to do it, everyone has the ability to do it too. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Oh, that's such a good message, and that's such a good advice. So do consider, taking out some time and really, really thinking over what people are saying to you. Thank you so much, Connie, to come and share your thoughts and tell the world who you are. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and have an incredible, awesome day. Thank you.
Welcome. And to all the viewers, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you learned something. And we will come again with another person to introduce to you. So, bye bye.